Good morning. This is Dylan Jovine from Behind the Markets. Happy Friday. Today is December 6th. Jeez, just going so fast. Rahm Emanuel, the U.S. ambassador to Japan, was interviewed this week and did a quasi-op-ed with the New York Times. And they were talking to him about a bunch of things, including internal politics, et cetera. And one of the questions they asked him was, look, you're the ambassador to Japan. When do you think China is going to invade Taiwan? Do you think it's going to happen in 2027, as many people think it's going to happen? And Rahm Emanuel said something that was very sobering. He said, no, we don't think it's going to happen in 2027. We think it's going to happen in 2025, next year. Basically, that is very sobering. That's a very sobering piece of information. This is a guy who's the U.S. ambassador to Japan, and he's speaking to all those government officials, and everybody's starting to actually plan for that next year in Japan. This is no joke. One of the things that we've been talking about here a lot is which companies are really going to help the United States revolutionize its armed forces, because basically we're talking about the fourth generation in warfare. Machine guns were generation number 1, tanks were generation number 2, smart missiles, smart bombs are generation number 3, and generation number 4 is really AI. So what we're talking about here is our armed forces need a massive overhaul, because the way they are currently designed, they're designed to win 20th century wars, tanks, manned aircraft, etc. But the fourth revolution of warfare is going to replace a lot of these tanks with drones, a lot of these aircraft with unmanned aircraft that can just travel at speeds that human beings can't move at, etc. And when you look at what the Trump administration is doing, they're really, for the Deputy Secretary of the Pentagon picks, he's really telegraphing that the fourth generation of warfare is really important to him. That's why he is considering Deputy Secretary of Defense Trey Stevens, who is a former employee of Palantir and now works at Peter Thiel's Founders Fund, and of course, Steven Feinberg, who's a billionaire investor at Cerebras. So one of the big questions that we've asked ourselves here over the years is which companies have the best technology to help drive this revolution happening in our armed forces. Now, we've made a ton of money, a ton of positive gains on the ones that are public: Palantir, IonQ, Rocket Lab, you just name it. You go down the list, AeroVironment, you just name them. But basically, the stock market itself is so expensive that the juice isn't worth the squeeze, really, in most publicly traded companies. One of the things that I've been asking myself is, okay, first of all, which companies are really going to have an impact? Which technology is really going to have an impact? And where can we find this? And one of the areas that I think is really still misunderstood by investors is in the transmission of data and the security of data. Now, think about this. In this fourth revolution in warfare, in a conflict scenario, imagine 10,000 American drones that are just swarming around together like birds, okay? Somebody shoots a missile at them. They swarm apart. Then they come back together, and then they fire all of the guns of each of these 10,000 individual drones, all hit one target at the same time. This is what the future of warfare looks like, period. When you think of how that actually happens, the drones are talking to satellites. The satellites are talking to the drones and, of course, to HQ, headquarters, military headquarters. So there's a lot of data that is being transferred back and forth from the drones to the satellite and then back down. That is a lot of data moving at rapid rates. The drone has to send targeting information back to HQ. HQ has to approve that target, or the drone has to do it themselves. But there is a lot of processing, really vast amounts of data in real time. So one of the things that I've been thinking about is which companies are helping that happen? Which companies are really helping the speed? Which software is really helping the data transmission happen at a faster and faster rate? And in the public markets, there are a few, but those are already overvalued. And we've certainly done more than well. We've certainly killed it this year on those companies. And in the past couple of years, we've just rid these to terrific gains. So I'm not seeing opportunities in the public markets, but there is a private company that is fundraising now. That's a big opportunity for members of Hidden Market Profits that we're really going to be talking about. And this is actually important enough and time sensitive enough for us to actually do our first Hidden Market Profits webinar in years. And what makes this company unique is they're already partnered. The Department of Defense, the Air Force are already using their stuff, their software to help move data. They're partnered with Nvidia, with Intel, with others. So this company has the goods. And one of the anchor investors of this company is the same group that invested in PayPal. Again, Peter Thiel and Elon Musk's company. So this is part of that big orbit. So, opportunities like this are very rare in any markets. Right now, I just don't see really many in the public markets. But in the private markets, I think you still have very rare and super duper opportunities. And this is one. And what really makes this opportunity unique is you can get involved for $648, a very small minimum to get involved in it. And we're going to really be talking about this. And I hope you could join us as we discuss this very important issue as the United States is really starting to change the way its armed forces operate. I hope you get a chance to visit with us when we host this webinar and we talk all about it. Have a wonderful weekend.